it's Katie here from the Scrappy Sisters, and I am up today with this 12 by 12 layout using these 4 photos, and it is actually photos of my nephews and my brother-in-law meeting Link for the first time. My sister was there too, but she had actually already met him, but this is sort of her family meeting Link, which was fun. So this photo was taken back in February, so you know, I'm slowly catching up on my scrapping this year. I'm pretty up to date with Project Life, but my 12 by 12s, well, I'm still working on February, so that gives you an indication of where I'm up to in my albums. I decided to go with a monochromatic layout today, so I'm using all blues. And I just wanted to soften this paper by using some gesso, and I am actually using a makeup sponge, one of those cheap makeup sponges you can buy, at least in Australia, from like the supermarket or the reject shop / maybe Dollar Tree, is that what you call it in America? It's like a cheap shop anyway. So yeah, I'm using that, and I really like the effect that it gives. These are all papers from Cocoa Vanilla Studio. They're from various collections, so I can't tell you the collections that they're from because they're from all different ones. I just have a whole stash of Cocoa Vanilla because that is my favorite designer ever, and I am lucky that they are Australian, and so I have a whole stash, and I went through it and I pulled out the blues, sort of tealy blues, and yeah, I used that colour scheme for this layout. And so I'm just cutting out my paper because I did decide that I wanted to layer it, and I actually cut an inch off, and I was going to layer it on this paper, but it was just too big of a border, so then I decided that I would actually double layer it. So I'm using 3 sheets of cardstock. I do gut this blue with the white polka dot paper because I really like it, but I don't gut the second lot of paper because, in all honesty, I have so much paper and I didn't need to. I know it's a waste, and some of you who are there going, oh my god, you didn't gut the Cocoa Vanilla paper. No, I didn't. Not the bit that I put on the back anyway. So I'm just trimming off a little bit of the blue. I trim 1/2 inch off the 2 sides of the blue spotty paper, and then this one here, the kind of light blue stripy paper with this floral on the back, that is the one that I use for the background, and that's the one that I don't gut. I don't love the other side of it, and I've got like 3 sheets of it anyway, so I didn't gut it, and I'm not sad about it. My motto this year is just to actually use my stuff, and you know, don't be wasteful, of course, but don't be sad if I use things. So I'm using it, but I do like this blue. I'm a bit partial to navy, I have to say. I think it's one of my favourite colours. This isn't a super dark navy, but it's definitely a darker blue, and I really like it, so I did gut that. I've chop and changed this layout a few times. Sorry, I had to stop and start the video a few times because my baby kept waking up. How rude. In fact, he possibly is going to wake up in the middle of this voiceover, but hopefully he won't. Yes, he's only napping for about 30 minutes at a time at the moment. I can usually get him back down, but I have to work hard at it. So I sort of get 30-minute bursts, and unfortunately, I wish I could craft every one of his naps. But, you know, other things have to happen, like the housework and the cooking dinner and that type of thing. So I usually only get sort of one crafty 30-minute block a day if I'm lucky. So I am sticking these sort of mats down, and I do decide to do a bit of a wonky look. Thanks to my sister for that, because I messaged her and say, oh, I'm doing this layout. She's like, oh, you should make it wonky. It looks good. So I'm like, okay, I will. So I am. So I lay that one down wonky, and then I am going to put this one down wonky as well. It's a weird word, wonky, isn't it? Anyway, I am not centering it, which is probably better for me because I don't measure things and I always get it wrong anyway. So this way it's deliberate. Excuse me, I got a frog in my throat. So it's a bit boring watching me put double-sided tape on the back of a piece of paper, isn't it? Sorry about that. I did edit out quite a lot of this video, and you'll see why shortly when we get up to it. It's a super simple layout to put together, and it really It did take me a while, but that will become apparent. I mean, you will know if you looked at the thumbnail in any detail about why it took me a while. But there was a lot of fussy cutting involved, which I did off camera, obviously. And then of the fussy cutting, it took me a long time to stick everything down. So I am just figuring out what I want to back my photos on, and I decide to back it on this blue and white diagonal striped paper. Again, Cocoa Vanilla. This whole thing is Cocoa Vanilla. Everything on this page is Cocoa Vanilla Studio. Yeah, so I'm sticking this down and going to mat the photos on this blue and white stripe, and then I'm also going to mat them on the blue with the white polka dot stripe. And I was going to try and use 2 different pieces of paper for this, just, because I could and I wanted the difference, but I really like that blue and white polka dot paper. And so I do end up deciding to mat them again on the blue and white polka dot. I probably could have pulled another similar colour from the stash of Cocoa Vanilla Studio papers that I have, but I did go through them prior to filming this to pull out all the similar colours, and there wasn't that many that were sort of that navy colour. I only pulled into the new collection Happiness and Midnight. I don't think I used anything from Midnight at all, actually. And then Happiness, I pulled 1 piece of paper or 2 pieces of paper from, but I'll show you those shortly. And otherwise, the rest of the cardstock that I'm using here is from older collections. I know that there's some from Wild at Heart and maybe Bohemian Dreams. I think those 2, that might be it. I don't remember. I cut off all the branding strips. Actually, they're in front of me. So I've got Bohemian Dreams. I might have put the other ones in the bin. Bohemian Dreams, and what's this one? This one is, Wild at Heart, which is what I thought. That might be, what's this one? Bohemian Dream. So 2 from Bohemian Dream and 1 from Wild at Heart with the paper that I'm using now. And then the paper that I fussy cut is from the Happiness collection. And that was the only recent stuff. I think the ephemera that I pulled was even from older collections as well. Not that there's much additional ephemera. Oh, except for my title. That actually is from the Happiness line as well. So really what I'm trying to say is that Cocoa Vanilla Studio is the bomb. They make the best stuff. It is very similar, I will say that, except for when they do their boy lines, or their more masculine lines, I guess. That it is, the rest of their stuff is quite similar, but it is my style, absolutely, and I love it, and I will buy everything that Cocoa Vanilla Studio releases. And I am not even sad about that. They can just take my money. Just take my money. I've even bought some grab bags from them in the past. Fabulous, fabulous. Love them. And if you can get them in other parts of the world, I highly recommend it. I don't know what the prices compare to here, but go for it. We pay a lot of money for the American scrapbooking brands over here in Australia, so I don't know if the same goes the other way, that you guys pay more for Cocoa Vanilla. Obviously, you've got shipping to factor in if you buy it direct from Cocoa Vanilla, but I think there's some retailers, certainly in the United Kingdom and in the US as well. So hopefully you guys can get your hands on it. And now, as I said, I have 4 photos. The ones that I've put down the right-hand side are photos of my partner and Link, and then Jack, my nephew, my sister's oldest son. So those 3 are sort of a series that go together. So I wanted to keep them together. But the photo on the left-hand side is all of Jess's family with Link, and it's a selfie. Now, my partner's obviously not in that photo. I could have kept those 2 photos separate, but it's the same day, it's the same event, and I thought I would put them together, and then I just sort of separated them kind of on the layout. Now, this is what I mean about the fussy cutting. So I fussy cut all of these butterflies from two pattern papers from the Happiness collection. They're both exactly the same pattern paper, but one's in 12 by 12 and one was in 6 by 8. So that's why there's the size difference of the butterflies, although I'm only putting out the ones from the 12 by 12 cut apart sheet or 12 by 12 pattern paper currently in this size. And then, so you see me there, I went with a circle pattern and I stuck those down. I thought I won't make you watch me stick all of them down because that's a bit rude. So I did edit out a big chunk of it. I'm just adding a few more now. And then I'm going to put my title down and then I'm going to come back in and add the smaller butterflies around the layout. So they're still on the left hand side of the layout there. You can see a whole pile of the smaller butterflies and they are cut out by the 6 by 8 pattern paper. And so I've cut those out as well, and I will tuck those in around the layout too, but I just wanted to put the title down first. So in the Happiness collection this time around, there was a whole pack of words, and so I just chose the good life. No real reason. I mean, I don't know. I don't think a lot about titles. I just sort of go, oh yeah, that works, let's go with that. So I did. And so I'm popping that up on foam so it sits above the butterflies. Some of the butterflies are on foam as well, so I double foamed the title, The Good Life. So you can see me doing that now, and then in a moment I get a phone call, which obviously you don't hear, but my phone does cut off. Thankfully I now record with my phone on loud, so I know if I get a phone call that my phone obviously stops recording, and so I know when that happens and I don't continue with the layout. Usually I answer the phone. This time I did because it was my partner calling me, so I did answer the phone. Spoke to him for 10 or 15 minutes. My child woke up, resettled the child, came back down, finished filming the video. Oh dear, so here we go. So this was after I'd come back down after putting my child to sleep, and I did actually put foam on the back of all the small butterflies off camera because that's a bit boring. And now I am tucking those little ones in around the layout as well. So I love the fact that the 6 by 8 and the 12 by 12 paper had the same patterns and I could fussy cut them because the two sort of different shapes look great together, if I don't say so myself. And in fact, I love this layout. I'm just putting it out there. I love it. I think personally it looks fabulous and I love the colours. Blue is my favourite colour. And I really like it. I'm really, really happy with it. I think it will be one of my favourite layouts of the year. I know my circle is not really a circle. The bottom left is not sort of round enough, but it is what it is. I am not perfect. My scrapping is not perfect, but I am super happy with how this turned out. And really, with the exception of my title, and I do add 3 extra ephemera pieces, everything else on this layout is from paper. So that's pretty cool. Pattern paper, way to go. So who would have thought that you could create a layout like this just with paper? Yes, I did a lot of fussy cutting. Yes, it took me a whole nap cycle of my child to cut out all of those butterflies. But yes, it was worth it. I'm really, really happy with it. So here are the ephemera pieces that I'm talking about. So I had a couple of word strips. I thought about adding some of the other ephemera that was over there on the left-hand side, but you know what? I didn't think it needed it. I have 4 word strip sort of word ephemera pieces. I decided to only add 3 of them because I just, rule of thirds, I guess. Not that anything else is in thirds. I've got 4 photos. I could have added 4 word strips, but I didn't. I only added 3. So I took off the one that said beautiful you, which, would still have worked, but I just thought the one that said memories and then happy and then XOXO worked well. So I am sticking those up on foam. A couple of them need double foam just to make it sort of sit flat, like the memories needed one end to be double foamed, and so did the happy. And then with XOXO I think I double foamed the whole thing. And then I add some splatters and we're done. The layout is done. And as I said, it was actually really quick to put together once I'd fussy cut the butterflies. I had an idea in my head straight away of what I wanted to do. I had a challenge. I don't think I said this. It's for a challenge at the Secret Not Secret Kit Club for their June online scrap party, which actually took place the last weekend of June, which I think technically finished on like the 1st of July. So it was the end of June, start of July. and I just am working my way through the challenges. Yeah, and it was heaps of fun, and it was a good challenge, this mood board. There were some pinks in the mood board as well, but I chose to just use the blues and sort of tealy colours, and I am so happy with how it turned out. As I said, if you haven't picked that up already, I love this layout. So I'm putting some navy Heidi Swapp Colour Shine, which I also think I've said this before is my favourite Heidi Shine colour. I prefer it to the gold. Obviously the gold probably goes in a little bit more than the navy, but I just love it. And then I also use a silver that I have, which is the Marabou Art Spray. It's an acrylic spray, silver, and I've actually used a decent amount of that since I got it, and that's what I add. It does get on my photos a little bit, but it's fine. It doesn't detract. It does splatter quite large. I did put some plastic over top of my photos, but I definitely get some on there. But as I said, that's okay. It doesn't take away from it. And then we are done. I'm going to show you the close-ups. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I loved putting this layout together. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you love it. Give us a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want, and we'll see you in the next video.